I recently played through Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and it was quite easy. So easy in fact that I was able to beat the main story in 8 hours on wild mode with no deaths, in one sitting. And I thought, how can I make this harder? Sitting in school, the idea came to me. Can you beat Kirby and the Forgotten Land without eating? Before we begin, let's discuss the rules. We must play through the game, defeating the final boss without eating anything. Enemies, I can't copy their ability. Food, that's a no-go, because, well, you eat it. If I somehow accidentally eat food or swallow an enemy, I must quickly pause the game and exit the level before the game saves. So healing during the level is off the table. Copy abilities are off the table. However, there is one more mechanic that needs to be discussed, but we'll get into that when it comes up. For now, let's begin the challenge. We start up washed up on the beach, making our way through the forest, where we learn to jump, and shortly after, how to inhale, which will be our main attack throughout the game. Some enemies don't have a copy ability, allowing us to inhale them and spit them out as projectiles. However, some enemies do have a copy ability once inhaled. That is if you keep auto swallow on. In the settings, you're able to switch between if you want to automatically copy an ability after inhaling an enemy. With this off, I must keep my fingers off the shoulder buttons at all times. Pressing forward, a prompt comes up, showing me how to slide. I followed the prompt, sliding into a box, which I break, and it contains a carrot, and this made me realize something. I had to be cautious of what boxes I break, because some may contain food. Luckily, I was able to bounce off a nearby pipe, avoiding that vitamin C. Moving into the building, where Mouthful Mode is introduced, a cutscene plays where Kirby inhales some woofies. However, during gameplay, you can't swallow those enemies, so we're still in the clear. But most importantly, we need to talk about Mouthful Mode, where Kirby inhales huge objects that he can't eat. In order to determine if this counts as eating, we need to look at the definition of eat. Put food into the mouth and chew and swallow. You never swallow any of the mouthful objects. You simply spit them out once you're done with them. Once again, we're in the clear. After inhaling the car and driving along the road, still being cautious about not eating food, I never thought about food being inside rocks and accidentally ate a donut. After dodging the rock, I'm finally able to reach the intro song. After watching Waddle Dees being kidnapped, we reach our first battle, which we easily complete and free Alphalus and finally enter the first level. Making our way through, hitting this switch reveals a useless cake. Jumping up the cliff, I'm hesitant on whether or not I should use the vending machine, which allows you to spit out soda cans, which you can pick up as food to heal. I decided to inhale it, just gotta be careful. Luckily, food goes away after being exposed, so if I become completely surrounded, I can just wait it out. Breaking the shutter and climbing the ladder, I realized another thing. Food can also be found in flowers, so flowers are going to be another thing to watch out for, especially since they're difficult to see. Starting over, running through the level while still being careful, I almost ate some pumpkins after breaking the ground with a cone. To avoid this, I had to be precise and hit the edge of the cracks so I don't fall in. Climbing up the ladder to rescue the first hidden wallaby, I'm given the choice between two copy abilities, and while I'm not technically eating them, I decided against using them for the extra challenge. We easily defeat the wild edge with stars that appear after it attacks. Moving forward, I panicked for a bit because I thought I had to kill this enemy to move forward, and I had to cut down this cone to take him out. Luckily, there's a spare cone up ahead, and I'm able to use that to save the Waddle Dee, while also avoiding the donuts it drops. Nearing the end, I accidentally open a flower that contains some corn. Going back through, narrowly avoiding some flower meat, I easily crush the buildings and save the Waddle Dees, finishing the level. After level 1, I'm finally aware of what I've gotten myself into, and I'm able to complete through the tunnel, rocky rolling road, and a trip through a level mall, with only one mishap. And we finally make it to the first boss against Goromondo. Running through the mall on my way to the fight and passing the stack of bananas, the fight begins. Avoiding the Donkey Kong forward tilt, rock throws, and the Donkey Kong grounded up B, Goromondo goes down quite easily. Before heading to Everbay Coast, the weapon shop opens up and I have to go through the tutorial on how to evolve abilities. After evolving the fire ability, I drop it immediately and move on. Moving to the abandoned beach, I try to inhale this enemy, however I also inhale a watermelon that was inside the enemy that actually came out of the box it was on. Later I found out that Scarfies get upset when you try to inhale them. Avoid the whirlpools, ride the waves, Waddle Dees is saved. The concrete aisles, not too much to talk about, pretty simple. Climbing the cement mountain while saving this little guy, I make it to the gliding section, and I'm worried that there will be a space where I won't be able to avoid the food. Luckily I have plenty of space during the gliding part and we're able to make it through. Heading through the fast flowing waterworks, I never paid much attention to my health. Going into this room where a Waddle Dee is, I underestimate my speed and accidentally run into a crocodile and die. Thankfully I start back at the beginning of the room so I can easily get the Waddle Dee. I'm able to beat the stage without any more problems. Now on to fight Tropical Woods. And this fight actually gave me a bit more trouble than Goromondo. It's hard to approach the stars from the coconuts when he blows gusts of wind. Then when his gate shield pops up, it blocks all attacks along with his roots, therefore giving me very little room to spit stars at him. With a bit of timing and health, he's down for the count. During the routine stop to Waddle Dee Town, I've saved enough Waddle Dees to have Kirby's house built, allowing myself to heal in between levels if needed. Heading through Pandaria kinda worries me since it's a carnival. I'm sure it's loaded with a bunch of snacks. Starting with Pandaria remains, I stand behind this cutout, not realizing you get surrounded by food when you do. Thankfully, Kirby's float exists. Up ahead, I try to go for the roller coaster Waddle Dee, and it's hard to see food that's coming up ahead with how fast it is. I'm able to make it through, but I miss the second switch and retry it, and I'm able to hit the second switch this time. Cleaning all the mud with water, some food pops out. Clean the fountain, float up, and finish. On to my favorite level. During the first race, I hit a box and spent about 40 seconds watching the clip I saved to make sure I didn't eat food. I heard a sound after breaking the box, and the sound I heard was a Scarfy noticing me, which I thought was the sound of food being picked up. The second race posed no problems. Whew, after all that, I need a break. Let's take one in the House of Horrors. The beginning was pretty simple. It was the dark section that was more challenging. There were multiple times I was in a situation that was hard to get out of. I even had to abandon the light bulb in one instance, but I was able to make it through. I used the vending machine on the final platform to destroy the aliens with some parts where food was in the way and I had to move to the side, and I managed to dodge them. Onto the parade, I spit out a rabaroo, which hits a flower containing a hot dog, and I just barely touch it. The rest of the parade goes on, and I save the Waddle Dees with no more mistakes, and we proceed to the fight against Clawroline, just after a quick power nap. Run, spit stars, run some more, spit more stars, she goes down, no problem. On to the final area of the continent, Winterhorns. Northeast Frost Street was quite tough. One box had an orange inside, however I couldn't see it with the vending machine. Nearing the end I tried to save a Waddle Dee, but one of the boxes I needed to destroy had some chicken in it. I tried again, but I don't think I can squeeze by without grabbing the chicken. I just go ahead and finish the level and move on. Onto the Metro on ice. I get hit by this Mumby because I think I can inhale it. However, I realize I can't and I die, which is the only troubling part of this stage. In the windy freezing seas, trying to save a Waddle Dee, there are some Scarfies above the water. One of them has a plate of food, which I had to be cautious of. Go through the wind tunnel, reach the end. Next we have the Battle of Blizzard Bridge, where I gotta fight all the mini-bosses again. No trouble with the fights, however I wasn't able to get many of the hidden Waddle Dees, since to get most of them you need to use certain copy abilities. And before I could fight DDD, I had to get 2 more Waddle Dees. Luckily there are 2 easy ones back in Frost Street. One is to find the hidden alleyway in the starting area, and another is to destroy these 4 animal sculptures. Got the 23 Waddle Dees, now on to fight DDD. I'm not sure if it's true, but I think he has a lot more health than the other 3 bosses. It's quite difficult to hit him with his jump attacks. Thankfully, it's easier to hit him with his hammer and dash attack. The fight kicks into high gear once DDD replaces his hammer with a pillar. I forgot that he swings his hammer more than once and get hit trying to spit a star at him. Then I panic whenever he does his ice attack because I underestimate Kirby's speed. Once I take him out, I'm able to save the Waddle Dees, but Alphalus gets captured and we head off. Moving into the original wasteland, moving through the sandstorm, destroying these support beams. I almost jump into some ham, but I react quickly and turn around in the air. Climb up the ladder, I'm done. Heading to book a room at the hotel, I disturb this nutty's nap and get blocked by his snake bodyguard. These pipe-mouthed segments always worry me, because I'm always worried I'll accidentally eat some food while rolling. Good thing this cactus corner is up high. Other than this, no problems. Back at a level wall, I forget to jump here and die just after saving a Waddle Dee. Moonlight Canyon. During the dark portion, I have to leave the light bulb to avoid this baby bottle and the flowers before it. Outside, heading to the secret area, I have to jump off the scissor lift to avoid an energy drink and carefully float so I don't grab the sleep ability. Onto the gliding section, which is a bit more narrow, and there are some pieces of food in spaces where I just barely miss them, and I make it through. Onto the fight against Silly Dillo. The first phase was easy. He only used his cage attack, which leaves him very vulnerable. Falling into the bigger arena, I have to use my dodge roll to avoid his rolls. It's phase 2 that gives me more trouble. The hitbox on his spin attack is huge and hard to avoid if you don't know where it's going, but I'm able to beat him and move into the finale. We reached the Redgar Forbidden Lands, starting with the Forbidden Lands. There are tons of Waddle Dees that I deemed unsavable, since this one, you need to break these boxes, and with the pieces of land falling, I don't have enough time to collect the gems. Most of the other ones need the dig ability, received when inhaling a Digga. Moving through the Inferno Road wasn't much of a problem, other than this whole strip, and I can't get the extra collectibles. Running through the second strip and sailing in the lava, I got the Waddle Dees, and into the power plant. I got squished immediately. The rest of the stage went pretty well. Grab the vending machine, avoid the ice cream, and done. On to the Gathering of the Beast Council, where I fight the bosses of the Beast Pack. And I just gotta say, this level tore me up. The fights weren't the problem, it was the parts in between the fights. Driving up the road, I had to leave the car to avoid the banana. Up ahead, I noticed the bridge is up. And I need the car to push it down. I kept walking, even though I'd almost given up. However, a new car spawns under this street lamp, and I'm able to knock down the bridge and move forward to Silly Dillo. The pipe mouth section was the hardest part of the run by far. I wasn't able to see what was up ahead and nabbed this pumpkin. Trying again, I tried to jump over the pumpkin, but I wasn't able to get enough momentum to keep my speed and fell a lot. The third time going through the top hole, I fell right onto this pepper and couldn't avoid it. Going again, avoiding all the food, me jumping caused me to lose momentum, and I can't roll into the spaces. Finally, I'm able to make this last jump after doing a short hop instead of a full hop. The roller coaster part was much easier than the last roller coaster ride, since this one was mostly straight. After 22 minutes, I finally complete the stage. The final stand was much easier than the Beast Council. Yeah, I had some mishaps, but not as many as the stupid pipe. Taking out the front lines of the Beast Pack got me a waddly. Heading to the first room with the poison Crocom, I can't go above this platform since the Crocom here drops some food that Kirby is too heavy to jump over. I just take the lower platforms and carefully float over the food to save this waddly. Next, I can't proceed with this vending machine because some bread is in the way. After that, the boat section is easy with no problems. The gliding section had some tight squeezes, and the fight with this tortillering had no problems with food. And we move on to the final battle. Of course, the fight against Forgo DDD is quite difficult. Hammer flames, jump attacks, pretty simple. I forgot he has two phases. Pools of lava from his jumps, him running around crazy, and his inhale are all difficult to dodge, but I pull through. Watch some unpaid labor, fight Leongar. The DDD fight took a lot of health down for me to nearly one hit, and Leongar takes me out, but I managed to take him out on a full bar of health. Onto Fecto Forgo, I wondered how stars would appear for me to attack him. Thankfully it has two attacks and I can take him out. Now, onto the final battle against Fecto Alphalus. This fight took some time. It has an attack that also heals it, and it is so hard for me to figure out which is the right one. After that, I take this conveniently placed big rig and slam right into Fecto Alphalus with some intense button mashing. With this, the question has been answered. Is it possible to beat Kirby in the Forgotten Land without eating? Yes, indeed it is. Thanks for watching. This was a lot of fun to make, and I had no clue if it was actually possible. If there's a challenge you'd like to see me try, feel free to tell me your ideas, and I'll see what I can do. See ya, fellas.